Okay, I think I'm ready to get started. About 5 minutes into this. Hi, I'm Gilbert with HPDS. I'm gonna be working again on this app for Algorand called AlgoDroids. Okay, I think I'm ready to get started. And yeah, so if you remember the past few nights I've worked on this, I haven't really worked on this at all off stream. So this is something that I am doing pretty much just live streaming it. Um, I guess for posterity on YouTube. Let's see. So the other night when I was working on this, hold on just a moment. Last time I was working on this, we were working on Tailwind, and I'm going to continue working with Tailwind, doing a little bit of stylization. So again, this is tailwindcss.com, and you're welcome to take a look at this yourself. You go into the documentation, and this is where I'm pretty much picking it up. I haven't used Tailwind on any project before this, and I've now logged about maybe 3 hours or so uh, using it, and I've learned quite a bit about it, especially the concept first, and responsive design. And I'm gonna go ahead and show the code here. We've been working on the code, and if you remember, you just add these kinds of where it says, in the class names, you add, say, for example, text center, or right here you've got BG gray 200, which is the background color, and then you've got PX, which is the padding X 12, MX, which is the margin X. So remember, that's what it kind of means by utility first. And so, yeah, that's what I'm going to go ahead and continue forward doing. Here we have the AlgoDroids website. Remember last time, if you were watching, I just kind of centered this. So I'm going to go ahead and inspect this page. And you'll see that it is responsive. Look at the images. We've got it fluid. Remember, that's what I was doing with the by removing containers. There's no container on this. Let me go ahead and skip this. This is from the other page. That's what I'm gonna try to work on next is this paragraph, and so I guess that's what I'm gonna do. Let's take a look. I don't like how this paragraph on this part, these kind of go beyond the size of the images. So we really always kind of want them smaller than the image, even when you've got bigger pages. So it's not that big of a deal when you've got the smaller pages. But when you get to the bigger pages, you notice that there should be divs around these. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and put these in divs with these images. So this is kind of just ordinary. Let's go ahead and go back to this page. So now we're in the index.tsx. Remember, this is the NextJS setup over here. So we've got, when you set this up, it comes with this pages directory. So in this pages directory, that's where I'm in the index. We're on the index page over here. This is a backup. That's what it looked like originally, so don't worry about that. Here we are. So this image, you notice that we've got this div with the text center, and that goes around pretty much all of the content. And you've got image H1P, and you've got that repeated a few times with these different if you notice that the AlgoDroids is on H1 paragraph, you've got that in an image. And then you've got the next section, and then the next section, and the next section. And in fact, that's what I'm going to go ahead and wrap these in sections. So let's go section, kind of get all that, and let's get this first section. Oh, I forgot the image. Let's X that, and then do that. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of these. Write another section. And then let's go through this little image all the way to the image, X that. And then copy So section, and I know this is kind of the boring parts. This is what coding and development is all about. But we've got this set up, and we got one more section to go. And you know, later on as I go on, as you start developing, you can look at all the things that we can do, because for example, all this can be taken from a database. All this image, H2, so that's when you get like content management systems. Like if anybody, if you're familiar with like WordPress in particular, you know that they've got hooks in WordPress that you could write your HTML, and then in the PHP you can call on the WordPress hooks, and it'll call out, say for example, the title of each page, or each article that you write in WordPress, for example. So this right now, I'm just hard coding it. This is all just hard coded, and in time, as this project progresses, if it progresses far enough, this can all be turned into some sort of database entry. Like this can all be written. I can write, for example, a dashboard type page where uh, an administrator can go in and write all these pages, and then we can tear all of this hard coding out and make calls from a database behind the scenes, which is something that this Next.js really makes easy to do, because if you remember, all these pages, they're all their own routes, and all these JS works, which is really interesting. But yeah, it makes it really easy to go to page, and that page can easily call data from a database and throw it right into this HTML that we're writing right now. But that's obviously outside of the scope for right now. So, but what you'll notice now is that I've gone and I've put a section um, all around this content. Every image with its heading. So let's go take a look at what that does. So we go back to the page, and obviously nothing really happens here. They're just in there. If we take a look, let's take a look. We can see that here the sections are. You do see that they are in a section, and you notice when I hover over this, you see this section highlighted. So you can actually see the size of the section and everything when you hover over this kind of stuff. So now we can say, for example, let's draw a border around this, and this is something that we could start getting back into the Tailwind. Let's go see what they've got for, I don't know, borders. So if we go back to the documentation, you go down the left hand side, what are we looking for? We're looking for, I don't know, some sort of border. And we've got backgrounds. Here it goes. It's got a whole section on borders. So let's do a border width, and let's take a look at border tube 4.8. So let's take a look at this. If you go to the right, you can see all the stuff that it does. So there's all kinds of borders. You can see the borders right here. Shows you the individual sides. Oh, look, you can even do border sides. So this, remember, these are all just class names that you can put into the HTML that has pre-written CSS for you. So you don't have to write in the CSS. Tailwind has already written in the CSS for these classes, and you simply have to use these classes within the HTML. You see here div class border 0, and in this class, you can add more than one class names in an HTML element. But here you can see border indigo 600, for example. So you can also do border sides between elements. You can also add borders between child elements using the divide XY width and divide color utilities. So that's pretty cool. So you can make these divides right here. So it's not really a border, it's simply a divide between these elements. And so I guess this is interesting to me, honestly. So how we do this? Div class divide Y, divide light blue 400. So let's go ahead and just do this. Divide Y. We're going to go ahead and copy this. Divide Y, and we don't have to do anything else but copy this. Let's see, divide Y, and it's going to look just very similar to that. So I'm copying and pasting that. And we're gonna go take a look at this right here, and let's go back to this page, and let's take a look at what happens when I go into the section over here, and we're going to this div, because you see this div encases all those sections, so everything's already text centered within this particular div. So let's divide, y divide. So now you notice the page already loads, but do we see any kinds of divides? I don't see any real divide. I don't think I see anything in particular happening. So what happened here? It does have the classes, so that did go in. I do notice that. You can also divide y, perhaps divide y with, because the divide y just means divide y 0. So let's go ahead and put divide y, and let's put, what did it say, 2? Let's put 2, and we got to go back to this page, and this is still not doing anything. I don't see anything unless the blue doesn't. Let's see, I see something kind of down here, but that's the bottom. So that's strange. I wonder why it's not doing anything. So that is something to keep in mind. So that was an unsuccessful test this first time around. So what else? Let's just try the normal border then. Let's go border 2, right? Let's just try border 2 around the whole thing. Let's get rid of that for right now, since that didn't work right off the bat for us. Let's do border 2, and then let's see what that actually does to our page. So I guess this is doing a border. You notice that there is something going along around the border. It is going around this whole thing. Earlier I noticed that it was bigger down at the bottom. So underneath trade right here, this section down here, you see the yellow line. And that yellow line, I don't know why I had that there. I was just demonstrating something over here. So this was, notice how I got this section back here going around the entire div. So I don't really need this section. Let's go ahead and get rid of this section right here, and then this section down here. I'm just copying, I'm just commenting those out. And now if you'll notice, that yellow line is no longer really around. Let's see, you see what I'm see the white. And that was just demonstrating something else. Because remember, I think this, what is going on here? We've got a margin on this border is the thing. So let's go back to the code, and what is it that I have? This border. So let's take out this border, because this border is getting on my nerves. So that was just to showcase something else. We still have text center, but what does that do now? So now again, all of this is the Tailwind. You notice that there is no, where was that? So we've taken that out. So you see how what it kind of does here. Now we've got this big white space down at the bottom because we still have this container. Okay, so fine. That I've just taken that out just to kind of give everything to clear it back up. So now let's go from here, and we're still trying to put like some sort of a border around. So I guess this border needs to be around the section. So I'm copying this border 2, and then we're going to go back to this, and we'll put them around the sections because I tried it in that class name, and that didn't really kind of work out for me unless there was more I had to do. But we're going to do this border 2, and now we'll see that this should make some sort of a border around. Is the border 2 not really working? Why is border not working? See, so now we're having issues. There's no border around these. So what is going on? So now let's take a look at this particular class, and we are in this section. Oh, you know what? This was, no, that's what it is. It's got border 2, class border 2. And why does it not have a border? Maybe the borders need to be bigger. So let's go border 4. maybe the color. Maybe I have a color issue going on. So what could be going on here? Look, you notice maybe the border is real small. Let's go a border 8. So maybe my issue has been that I just can't even see it because of the size. So we're gonna go back over here and we're gonna go border 8. So what could this be? Could it be this background? Let's take out this background color. Let's take out all of this for this div. Let's go ahead and get rid of the background color, the PX12 and the MX1. We don't care about none of that. We're making it real fluid. And let's see what happens. Okay, so now I do see a border. So if you notice, that border had to do with, the reason why I couldn't see it this whole time is because of the color of that background. So it was working, and I do see it, and I noticed that it is just around this one section, the very first section, if you notice. And if you notice, just giving it a border right away gives it a, kind of distinct look from the rest of it. So, just messing around with this is how designs, once you learn how everything what everything does. This is what a border does, and these are the kinds of complications you might run into. See, I couldn't see it because it was real similar to the other color. For me, I just couldn't see it. Maybe other people could have seen it, but based off of what I could see, I couldn't see it. So there's ways to change the colors on this, right? So we'd have to figure out, I didn't even notice, okay, border 2, and then it's got the color, border indigo. So we could go border white. Let's go border black. Now that we've got a kind of, so remember there was all the colors that you could do. Border black does just a straight black, if you notice that. So that does that, which still, that looks pretty interesting. So now that we can see these borders, I want to go ahead and try this between elements again. So let's go back to this divide X, Y, width. So you see this is what this shows. The divide Y, divide light blue, 400. So this is what it does with the outside div and then the inside divs. I'm going to go ahead and take this one more time. I'm going to copy and paste it, copy. And then we're going to go back to this right here so I can see what it looks like when we update it. And we're going to do this right over here in this guy. What do we see? Do we see? Oh yeah, I kind of do see. You see it right there. It's very small, but I do see it now. See, so it was working earlier, but it was so tiny I couldn't see it. It was so small. So now let's go back and try that. Divide light blue. Let's put 800 because that's such a small number. In fact, let's get rid of this section's. Let's get rid of this section class name, and then let's do this divide. Let's get rid of the divide light blue. Let's just go black so that we can see this. Divide Y. And so now if we just do that, you can see it better now because it is just black. And you notice how it is dividing just the different sections. Oh, great. How long have I been going? I'm going to actually have to call it for right now. I got to take this phone call. So I will be returning in about half an hour. So I'll be back.